The President of the EPP Group, Manfred Weber.
Madam President, Parliament, Commission, dear Prime Minister, long time no see. Welcome in the Parliament. My first message also goes to the Hungarian people. They can count on Europe. Devastating floods, more than 20 people lost their lives. Europe will stand together to help people rebuild their homes, churches, schools. Decisive actions, friends who support you in a moment of need, that's Europe at its best. Hungary is a European country, Hungary is a strong country, and Hungary can always count on Europe's solidarity. I listened carefully to the presentation of Viktor Orban today, and I must say I'm quite shocked because he spoke about agriculture, he spoke about migration, he spoke about the battery technologies for the future of Europe, but he didn't mention Ukraine, dear friends. He didn't mention Ukraine with one single sentence. I spoke about solidarity, and in this moment of time, the biggest need for European solidarity is to give a common answer to war being back in Europe. That is the real question which we have to answer. And I have hard times to understand why you, as a former freedom fighter, ignore the will, the desire of the Ukrainians to live not only in peace but also in freedom. I have hard times to understand that you collaborate with the aggressors. And I have hard times, as also Ursula von der Leyen said it, that one of the closest advisors of you said publicly, Hungarians made a mistake in 1956 to stand up against the Russian occupation. For me, Hungarians are freedom fighters and heroes fighting for peace, Europe and democracy. Prime Minister, reality is the following. You visited Putin in February 2022. A few days later, Putin attacked Ukraine with a brutal, unprovoked war. What have you told him? Has he shown you the military deployment plans? And this summer again, you visited Putin, and only 48 hours later, he bombed a children's hospital, killed innocent children in Ukraine. Prime Minister, that are the facts. That is the outcome of policy you are representing. Your trip was never a peace mission. It was a big propaganda show for the autocrats and those who are defining our European way of life. Your trip was not a peace mission. Your trip was never a peace mission, it was a war prolongation mission. That is what we speak about. And when we speak about content, we can talk about everything, about migration, about climate change, jobs. We do this here every day, so it's not a news for us when you present some ideas. The key question is another one. Because on migration, we found in April this year an overall compromise between all countries in Europe, the big parties in the European Parliament. We want to give an answer, and Hungary is outside, is isolated, is not having part of this. When you compare today's presidency with 2011, the last presidency, you met in 12, 13 years ago all EU leaders. You met several times all EU institution leaders. You were in the center of Europe. Today, no one really wants to see you. In 2011, you had 44 high-level meetings in Budapest. Today, no one wants to come to Budapest. In 2011, the Hungarian presidency closed 103 legislative files. Today, no progress at all. Back then, you were in the center of Europe. Today, you are alone, you are sidelined. That is the question you have to answer. Why nobody wants to speak with you? And I also know that you are telling journalists and the public that you are now claiming to be the conservative centre-right leader. But let's have a look on the PFE group. Geert Wilders became famous in Italy. Do you know why? Because he said publicly, I quote, "No cent of European support for Italy," quote end. That is Wilders. I don't know whether Salvini discussed this with him. I don't know whether he did so. That's not patriotism. That is egoism and that is nationalism. Dear colleagues, Le Pen in France, Vlaams Belangen in Belgium, they were opposing to the idea to welcome, for example, Romania, Hungary and Slovakia inside of the European Union. That's not patriots for Europe. That is nationalists against Europe, dear friends. And that's why we will criticize this. And let's be also clear, Viktor, you didn't win the elections. Fidesz is not the winner of the elections. You had in the last mandate 12 seats and now you have 10 seats. So don't create this image that you have the support. The EPP, we won elections. That's why Ursula von der Leyen, Roberta Metsola, we have the chance to lead in Europe. And we won because we followed our DNA as Christian Democrats and as Conservatives. You are trying to present you as a true conservative, but I tell you, Margaret Thatcher was a mother of today's European single market. She was leading with policies. Ronald Reagan stood up against communism and won. He did not please autocrats and anti-democrats. Helmut Kohl unified East and West with good policies like the euro and the Schengen proposal. He united and didn't split Europe. That is the true nature of Christian Democrats and EPP. These conservative leaders knew that the democratic world and Europe are stronger together. They would never be Putin's and Xi's puppets. Dear friends, that is about the European reality. And when we finally focus on the Hungarian reality, corruption is killing Hungary's future. We see the consequences every day. 4,000 Hungarian teachers left their jobs only last year due to terrible working conditions, and nearly 400,000 Hungarians emigrated in the last decades. They are fed up about corruption. As the EPP, we know Hungary deserves better. Hungarian deserves a strong voice in Europe. And when Peter Magyar was the first time in the EPP group meeting, he said the pro-European and pro-rule of law-based Hungary is back in the EPP with 7 MEPs. Today, the TISA party is neck on neck with Fidesz in the polls. And I know you're getting nervous about this, but I tell you, just as Pavel defeated Babiš in Czech Republic, just as Tusk defeated Kaczynski in Poland, TISA and Peter Magyar will defeat you in Hungary. Mr. Orban, you are the past. Peter Magyar is the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you.